What's up? What's going on? Happy Tuesday. I'm gonna give y'all time to come on up in here this Tuesday because we got some business to attend to. Now we're just gonna do some analyzation. We're gonna have some fun tonight. You see the title. We got the Franken Negroes out here that have been created, and that's gonna be part of the topic that we cover. So y'all go ahead and come on up in here. Chisel, chip up. What's going on, my brother? Hell the eye. How y'all doing? Happy Tuesday. Y'all come on up in here. It's Tuesday. We're getting it down. This is On the Shoulders of Giants. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Joseph Ward, and we go live over here every Tuesday at 9 p.m. and every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. We get it in. We have great conversations about great things. So today, I did a little bit of clickbait, a little bit with the title, but I'm not necessarily getting into the diaspora war stuff, but what I am getting into is I want us to kind of think critically about the conversation that's being had. The brother Sarah Garvey, he's having a conversation with another gentleman. I don't know who the other gentleman is, but they're talking about essentially the creation of Black Americans, the creation of the mindset of the Black American, the creation of the culture of the Black American, everything that goes into what has made Black Americans what we are today. But my challenge to that is his critique does not just encompass Black Americans, because I think it's a bit short-sighted. In my opinion, his critique goes to the African diaspora as a whole. The diaspora as a whole may not have been brainwashed or colonized the same way. Of course, you know, we endured our version of chattel slavery here in America. There were different versions of chattel slavery in the Central America, South America, different versions of it in the Caribbean. It was not all the same, but the effects, right? And so he mentioned two things. He mentioned, well, two people and their works. He mentioned Carter G. Woodson and the Miseducation of the Negro. And, you know, we're reading that now. So make sure you go check out yesterday's video, because we're reading the Miseducation of the Negro now. So, and he also mentioned Dr. Joy DeGruy talking about her concepts on post-traumatic slave syndrome. So, you know, we're already reading Carter G. Woodson. So we already know what that's talking about, right? So I got a short video from Dr. Joy DeGruy, who's describing what post-traumatic slave syndrome is, so we can make sure we have a working understanding of it. And I also have a website pulled up, so we have the definition and everything. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into Dr. Joy DeGruy first, set the foundation of a definition of what post-traumatic slave syndrome is. We're gonna do that first. Then we're gonna jump into the video with Sarah Garvey and the other gentleman and giving their analysis and that breakdown. And the analysis and that breakdown is from a non-Black American on Black Americans. And I'm not criticizing him for that, but I just think that his assessment is not just specific. And I understand why his assessment is specific to us, and that's because of the scholars that he's reviewing. But I think he's missing, and what a lot of people, they're missing the piece that it wasn't, when they talk about the Negro, they wasn't just talking about the Negro in the United States. They were talking about the African diaspora, how the Negro mind itself was shaped, how Negroes themselves were shaped by colonization. So that's the stuff that we're getting into today. Nemesis X, my brother, what's going on? Yeah, and rest eased. Oh yeah, D'Angelo did pass, man. I did see that, man. Yeah, moment of silence for D'Angelo. Dang, man. Yeah, I was scrolling through social media earlier and I seen that D'Angelo had passed, man. So shout out to that brother. He made some awesome music, did some awesome things. Make sure y'all please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. Make sure you tell a friend, come on in here. Hit that hype button if you can. I'm about to put up a poll and all that other stuff. I figured out how to do some other production stuff up in here, so we get into it. So like I say, we're about to jump into this interview or this discussion, or rather lecture from Dr. Joy DeGruy, breaking down what post-traumatic slave syndrome is, and then we're gonna get into the discussion with the brother Sarah Garvey. So let's do what we do He says pancreatic cancer, that's something we happen to be vulnerable to. This Western diet isn't. Yeah, the Western diet is not helping at all. Dang, from pancreatic cancer. Man, that's sad to hear that the brother passed away from pancreatic cancer. So yeah, this Western diet is not it at all. And we got to make sure we are as healthy as we can be. I know I got to stop eating in the streets. I have stopped drinking. I haven't drunk a Coke in a while. I used to drink a whole lot of Cokes, man, but we got to be healthy. We have to be healthy. We got to practice what we preach on all ends. But without further ado, let me stop my talking and go ahead and let Dr. Joy, the group, get to doing her thing. And then, we get into this discussion. Y'all jump into the comments and let me know what you think. Here we go.
There's a kind of a fundamental basis for post-traumatic slave syndrome. How many of you are familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder? But when we start talking about chattel slavery, we're not talking about one trauma. We're not talking about a specific event. We're talking about generations of trauma with no intervention. Based on what I know about sugar plantations, tobacco, and the Caribbean, what I know about American chattel slavery and the plantations there, does anyone right now ever recall mental health assistance to slaves? Anybody remember sending in the therapist after I sold off your son, daughter, raped folks? At any point? Never. Second question. After slavery was officially over, now you're free. Anybody remember any therapy then? We know it's been rough, it's been deep for you, it's been difficult. We're going to do a little group therapy. Anybody remember that? That would be no. Number 3, after slavery officially ended, both in the States, in the Caribbean, the British ended, do you remember whether or not trauma continued? Did the trauma continue for people of African descent? I need to know. Okay, so now let's do the math. Hundreds of years of trauma, no treatment.
Can you hear? I just want to, Nemesis, you said audio was cutting out. Can you hear? I just want to make sure I can start it back over. Let me know if y'all can hear the audio. Now it's back. All right. I need to start it back. I'll start it back over. So we can make sure we get everything. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yes. She goes hard. One of my favorites. Yes. And welcome.
There's a kind of a fundamental basis for post-traumatic slave syndrome. How many of you are familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder? But when we start talking about chattel slavery, we're not talking about one trauma. We're not talking about a specific event. We're talking about generations of trauma with no intervention. Based on what I know about sugar plantations, tobacco, and the Caribbean, what I know about American chattel slavery and the plantations there, does anyone right now ever recall mental health assistance to slaves? Anybody remember sending in the therapist after I sold off your son, daughter, raped folks? At any point? Never. Second question. After slavery was officially over, now you're free. Anybody remember any therapy then? We know it's been rough, it's been deep for you, it's been difficult. We're going to do a little group therapy. Anybody remember that? That would be no. Number 3, after slavery officially ended, both in the States, in the Caribbean, the British ended, do you remember whether or not trauma continued? Did the trauma continue for people of African descent? I need to know. Okay, so now let's do the math. Hundreds of years of trauma, no treatment. Freed, more trauma, no treatment. What do you do the math? Do you think there may be residual impacts of that trauma? Of course there is. It didn't end, friends, and it hasn't ended yet. So I think on one point, African people and people of African descent are extremely resilient. Matter of fact, I think we're a miracle. Far be it for us to pathologize or to look and cast this idea of weak and sick people. Oh, on the contrary, we are profoundly resilient because we've done everything we've done thus far with no help, with not even the ability to have this discussion. As though it were possible, we escaped injury in all those hundreds of years and the years that follow. So this kind of journey I'm going to take you on is going to be one that really gives a perspective on what this trauma was, what it looks like, and clinically, what is post-traumatic stress disorder? What does it look like? Now, let me give you a little snapshot. We'll get into it in more depth a little later. But post-traumatic stress disorder, if in fact you are diagnosed with that, again, remember, direct or indirect trauma, here are some of the symptoms. A feeling of foreshortened future. Now, what does that mean? A feeling, well, you're not going to live long. How many of you are running into young people that don't believe they're going to make it past their 20s? Feeling of foreshortened future. Exaggerated startle response. Outbursts of anger. Difficulty falling or staying asleep. Hypervigilance. Right? These are symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. This is like DSM stuff, Diagnostic Statistical Manual Mental Disorders. It's in there. And there's a whole listing of all these symptoms. Now, I want to roll it back so you can understand what the transmission theory is, because I'm going to talk about transmission. So how does a person that's been traumatized by post-traumatic, literally has a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, and can we, if we are logical and we are reasonable people, assume that a fair number of Africans had to have had post-traumatic stress disorder? You think? I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about them. Untreated, though, right? Okay, so now let's do the math. Mom, who saw dad sold or sister raped, has post-traumatic stress disorder. Still mom, though, right? Only mom now has outbursts of anger, feeling of foreshortened future, difficulty falling or staying asleep, hypervigilance. That would be mom. Now, Johnny or Mary or Shaquisha did not have the original trauma. But what are they learning? This is called social learning theory. What am I normalizing? Exaggerated startle response, outbursts of anger. Are you following me? So I didn't have to be traumatized. Now, the other thing is, do you think Johnny and Mary got traumatized too? Do you see? So what happens in your environment, you learn from the significant others in your environment. And if they're broken, guess what you're going to be? You're learning from broken people. And you're normalizing that behavior. And then it becomes, years later, 2008, that's their culture.
Dr. Joy DeGrew doing her thing, right? So I love the way she explained that. We're talking about something that has affected people of African descent, has affected the diaspora for generations. We're talking about epigenetics as well, right? Trauma passed down, psychological trauma, physical trauma, emotional trauma, all types of trauma has been passed down from generation to generation to generation throughout the diaspora, and there has been no healing. And because of no healing, it has manifested itself into negative perspectives, negative behaviors, negative effects, and negative outcomes. And I will take it a step further and say she's explaining some of the behaviors of the diaspora and why Black people don't like each other throughout the diaspora. And that's funny I said that because that's one of the things that the brothers are talking about in the video. But once again, I think that's why we do have some of the diaspora wars that we have, because of the trauma that we've all experienced. And a lot of us have especially different types of trauma depending on where you are, but it's still trauma nonetheless. And it's unhealed trauma from generation to generation to generation. And manifest itself into vacant esteem. So we don't like ourselves, and we don't like those who remind us of ourselves, those who we could recreate ourselves with. And, we don't like each other. And so that shows in how we treat each other. That shows in how we talk about each other. That shows on how some people with black skin would rather assimilate and be a part of the white structure rather than be with their own people. Like I was thinking earlier today, because we're talking about a mindset too, a post-traumatic slave syndrome mindset, right? It's also a mindset that would breed dependency. It's a mindset that would breed somebody to be what we would call a sellout, a Sambo, right? And so I remember there was a series on Netflix years ago, and it was about a plantation in a slave plantation in Colombia, and the cast were black people who speak Spanish and all the things there. And I remember it was one episode where it was called Palenque. That was the name of it. It was called Palenque. The whites and the slave masters were trying to find the Palenque because they had run-ins with the Maroons, and they were trying to find the Palenque, and they couldn't find the Palenque. And then one day, one of the little boys and a white girl who was raised in the Palenque, they ventured to the town where the white people live, and they were spotted. And so the white people had a spy follow them. And this was the significant part, right, with the spy. So the spy is following them, and the spy gets to a point to where he follows them from a distance and watch them go into the Palenque. And the spy has a choice to make. The spy could be free and never come back. He could join the Palenque or do whatever and be free and never come back, or he can go tell on the black folk. The mindset, right? The mindset, because we're talking about at this point, this is like the 1800s. So seeds are planted, and more seeds are being planted, more trauma is being planted. So instead of being free, he chose to go snitch, and the Palenque was destroyed. He could have been free. He was so dependent upon the white folk that he said, forget my freedom, I'm gonna go snitch on the rest of these black folk so they could be enslaved too, right? We're talking about a mindset, and that was in Colombia, right? And so that helps us understand what has happened to us as a whole, right? White supremacy is a global system. It's not something that just affects us here in America. It's not just a Black American problem. It's a diaspora problem, right? And we have to understand what has happened to all of us. We were all victims of white supremacy. We're all victims of white supremacy. The descendants of slaves, the effects of the descendants of slavery don't just affect us here. It affects us throughout the diaspora. 3 to 4 continents were destroyed because of Columbus and all that stuff there. Doer of L, I hate when people claim that this culture of oppression is black culture. This culture is not our original culture. Well, it may not be our original culture, but it's the culture we have. It's what happens when you are stripped of everything, when you are enslaved, stripped of everything. It's the culture we have. People develop culture. Said we had the we sick, yeah. Free to do what many sellouts are clear in their mind of the overall state. A sellout has no faith. Hey, basically, that's why he did what he did. That's exactly why Buddy did what he did. Buddy said, forget getting away from these white folk. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make sure the rest of y'all can endure this stuff too. Now you're right. I get it. I ain't disagreeing. There you go. We sick. There you go. That Buddy was wild, man. So, I mean, and back to this comment, I mean, it is what it is. It's the culture we have. I mean, what are we going to be ashamed of the culture that we develop? We like all human beings, we develop culture. This is the culture we have. We're all under the system of white supremacy. Unfortunately, our culture was developed behind enemy lines under the system of white supremacy. This is what we have. Can we improve it? Yes, but it's the culture we have. So let's go ahead and get up into this conversation with this brother Cyrod Garvey. And let's think critically about what's being said. It ain't no beef. We ain't trying to start no diaspora war stuff, but I did, think it. I ain't gonna lie. My first thought was I thought it was interesting that a non-Black American was critiquing the history and the creation of Black Americans. That was my first thought, but then I had to watch it. I watched it a couple times to make sure I can get a better grasp of what's being said and not just be reactive and things like that. So I thought it was an interesting conversation, but nevertheless a good conversation for us to jump into. So let's go ahead and do what we do. The brother Cyrod Garvey, and I don't know the other gentleman, but shout out to both of them. Of course, we might not agree with everything, but it's okay to disagree politely or with some sense, civilly. Renee, what's going on? How you doing? B1 FBA, we up in this thing, doing what we do, how we do what we do. You already know. Thank you for being here. He says, I tend to agree with Neela Fuller take on the topic of coaching. I mean, we all do, but this is what we got, though. So we got to improve it. We got to improve it. So let's get into this conversation.
People in America were taken, think of it like Frankenstein. You know, like Frankenstein would take the arm from this place and the leg from this place and the head from this place. And they were created into what they are.
What's the form of eugenics, Kobe?
They're severed from what they were. You see, the Black people on the continent of Africa, they still have, even though they were colonized and enslaved on their continent, they still, because they were in their continent, they got to hold on to some remnants of their culture, their language, their foods, stuff like that, right? So they, even though they were colonized, they weren't totally severed from who they were. The Black American is severed from who they were and then cultivated and created into this being. So they don't have a natural language. Their language is the language of the person that created them. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't have a natural religion. Their religion is the religion of the person that created them. They don't have everything that they have has been cultivated by the people that created them. Black people don't like each other.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Why don't we like each other, bro?
Black people don't like each other, and it's shown within the attitudes and the behaviors that we act out towards each other. Generally, I would say in the West.
So honest, man. I love that about you.
Listen, black people don't like each other, right? Black people generally don't like each other. I said some of the worst. Let's say some of the worst people that have looked at me on the street have been from Black people, and I'm like, I don't even know you, bro. What?
But even when he's going through that, that's why I started with the post-traumatic slave syndrome video. That's why I wanted to lay some groundwork on the mental state of Black people, but make sure the focus is not just on us in America, but look at Black people throughout the diaspora, right? Because yes, Black people, we don't like each other, right? We've all been conditioned to hate ourselves and hate those around us. Read the works of Frantz Fanon. Read the works of those who are outside of America, who are able to diagnose what has happened to the African mind, to the mind of Black people throughout the diaspora, right? What Frantz Fanon writes about and what Carter G. Woodson writes about is pretty much the same thing. It's just from different lenses, because Carter G. Woodson was here in America and Frantz Fanon was in France and Martinique, but they're pretty much writing about the same thing. And how do we know? Because we just got through reading Black Skin, White Mask, and we're reading the Miseducation of the Negro right now, and they're not saying anything different, just from a different lens. Says, now when you said we have to improve, I wholeheartedly agree, but too many think the bad behavior. No, I agree. Look, I would Negro behavior, Negro mindset behavior. And I'm saying that because I'm trying to reduce saying the N-word on here because they be tripping. But Negro mindset behavior is one of the greatest invention of white supremacy. To create the Negro, to create that destructive person, and not the Negro, the N-word, to create that and to make sure that that continues is one of their greatest feats. I wholeheartedly agree. But that's one reason excuse me, that's one of the reasons why we don't like each other. But we also have to come to grips that that N-word is not just something that affects us in America. It's not just American. N-words are diasporic. They're diasporic. The mental shaping of people of African descent, it has happened of the diaspora. It happened to all of us. That's how you colonize a whole continent. The whole continent was colonized. The whole continent. All of the Caribbean were colonized. All of the Americas were colonized by these people. We all have our minds blended up and mixed up, and that's why we treat each other the way we treat each other. That's why we talk about each other the way we talk about each other. That's why you're right. The Willie Lynch syndrome. The Willie Lynch syndrome. If we want to put a name on it, there it is. Right there, it is. It's and remember, the story is that that didn't come from the Americas. It came from the Caribbean to the Americas. Right. So I'm just saying, you already know it does still live on, and it lives on throughout the diaspora. And that's my point. That's my point that I want to hammer home today is this is not just something that affects us over here. Why do you think we struggle with Pan-Africanism? Why do you think we struggle with any type of nationalism, any type of anywhere throughout the diaspora, anywhere Black people are? Because for the most part, Black people outside of the continent, Black people are behind enemy lines. If you're outside of the continent, for the most part, you're behind enemy lines. And even if you're on the continent, you're still where the enemy controls things. So white people still have a great deal of control over the lives and the mindsets of Black people. That's why we behave the way we behave. So I'm just saying, you're right. Save who can be saved. Save those who want it. They don't want it, we can't mess with them. Sanika is the 5-starter, has the great video about the N-word and say why we got to check it out. Got to check it out.
What is this disdain that you got in your heart for me? And so when you look at, some of the crime and stuff and what happens with the crime, you say to yourself,
intraracial. Nearly 90%,
intraracial.
Yeah, nearly 90%
of crime is intraracial.
Yeah.
Meaning that it's white on white, Chinese on Chinese, Black on Black.
The highest number in the Black community.
Yeah, because Black people don't like it, but Black people have been taught to hate each other. Right. They've been taught to.
Right.
You don't think we can end that conditioning? Because look, brother, I can show you something right now. Right now. Whereas I kind of say Black people, the nature of Black people, I'm going to read something out very quickly. This is from Up From Slavery, because I find it really important to understand. This is kind of stuff I kind of read, and so what people talk about slavery, there are very different stories of slavery and ideas around slavery. Booker T. Washington is saying, they were anxious. I'll give you a bit of a scenario. This is when, the war, the war to free the slaves, like the war of the South.
Yeah, yes. Do you mean the civil?
Yeah, civil war.
Okay.
They were just as anxious to assist in the nursing of the family relatives of the wounded. So Black slaves were just as anxious to assist in the nursing of the soldiers who were literally fighting to keep them in slavery, right?
But that's what he's saying goes to this comment, goes to B1's comment, right? All right. Before the transatlantic slave trade, before the colonization, there was tribalism, right? So we're going back to remembering that there has never been a time. I haven't found any information. If you find it, let me know. We have a whole change of opinion, but as of right now, I haven't found any information to show of any united thought of the total continent, all Africans throughout the continent looking at themselves as one. So there was always some kind of separatism, some type of tribalism that existed. It exists amongst humans. It's a human thing, right? It's a human thing. That's what human beings do. Humans click up, humans tribe up with those who are like-minded, right? Those who share similarities, right? So that tribalism was played upon. And because that tribalism was played upon, it increased the distances that we had between each other. And now our minds are all blended up. We have to have a total revamping of our mindsets to get to something like this. We got to have it. We got to do it. says we struggle with the Pan-Africanism because the many sisters that have conned our people. Hey, don't get me started. Nemesis. Get Dua trying to get me started on Umar tonight. See, Nemesis, get him, Nemesis. I've said, because Dua, I don't mess with Umar. Now I'm just playing, but nah, you're right though. You're right. But I also think that's why we have to wag our fingers at the scammers, and we have to wag our fingers at the followers, at the blind followers. We have to wag our fingers at them too, especially the adults. Grow up and start thinking for yourselves. Start to see the bull that's in front of you. I don't like his generalization of black people. Now all of us hate each other. I was never right. Well, that's one of the things that we're getting into. I'm glad because this is a conversation for us to think about what's being said. You already know, right? Because all of us don't hate each other. I'm a prime example of that as well. I've always called, if you look like me, you black, you family. I look at all as family, but I also understand all skin ain't kin. But I'm with you, Renee. Oh damn. Oh, he gonna be there all week. Well, Candace Owens and Officer Tatum them here for the Brexit thing. They're supposed to be around here for the Brexit thing, family homecoming. So all the grifters and scammers out. Say we need to wag some damn fingers at. Not right. Now I'm with you. I have more smoke for the stupid followers than I do for the scammers. I got more smoke for them. But yeah, but get back to this though. Please hit that like button.
Basically, anyway, it's the nature of them.
White soldiers.
Yes, white soldiers.
Okay.
So some of the slaves would even beg for the privilege of sitting up at night to nurse their wounded masters. This tenderness and sympathy on the part of those held in bondage was a result of their kindly and generous nature. In order to defend and protect the women and children who were left on the plantations when the white males went to war, the slaves would have laid down their lives. So
Right.
So conditioning. So I mentioned this because I want to talk about conditioning. It's about being taught to think a certain way. So now,
right. That reminds me of, and it's not necessarily. It's similar. That reminds me of the story of Ya Asante, where the Ashanti had to fight the British, and the British was just coming in, taking everything, and they took the king. They took the golden. The sacred golden stool was stolen by the British. And the men were afraid to go to war. And Ya Asante, the fearless woman, had to rally the troops and stir the men up to get them to go fight, right? But we're talking about a mindset that was instilled in African people, period, right? And you have to work to reverse that mindset. We have to work to be better. We have to want to be better, especially if you get to a point where your light switch comes on and you realize what's happening around you. Like I think that was Dick Gregory say, when you put the magic goggles on, you can't take them off. When you see the truth, when you take that red pill, you can't go back. When you see the truth, right? But that's when you start doing better as well. And I think that's where we fall short, is we get caught up in the rhetoric and the back and forth and the debates and stuff like that. And we don't put enough energy into being better. If black people throughout the diaspora put enough energy into being better, we could eliminate the system of white supremacy easily, because we would be together. We could eliminate white supremacy, and then all other supremacies that try to come up against us, we could put them in check if we just chose to be better.
There's a book called The Miseducation of the Negro.
Oh yeah, I read that.
The Miseducation of the Negro, and in it he says that because of the conditioning of the quote-unquote Negro, right? Negroes were used to going into the big house via the back door. They weren't allowed to go in via the front door, right? And he's actually said something that was quite funny. He said, if there's no back door, a Negro will build a back door and then go through it, because he knows that much that he's not allowed in through the front door. And so a conditioning in the Americas has been done to black people. I said,
well, and see, that's what I tend to correct him and extend it. It's not yes, there was a conditioning in the Americas, but that was a conditioning for black people throughout the diaspora. Throughout the diaspora, black people behave like that. The N-word folk ain't just in America. I know we focus on it in America, but look at the behavior of black people throughout the diaspora. Like what the movie Hotel Rwanda, what that was about, the Hutus and the Tutsi and the Hutus and the Tutsis and the genocide that was happening there. Right? Like there are examples throughout the diaspora of black people having that intra fighting against each other, and then the fighting against other groups of black people. We do that throughout the diaspora, and that's the thing that I want people to understand. Is not just a thing when Carter G. Woodson was writing this book, when Dr. Joy DeGruy was writing her book, they were not just talking about in the Americas. Even for Dr. Joy DeGruy, if you go to her website and look at her definition of what PTSS is, it says PTSS is a theory that explains the etiology of many of the adaptive survival behaviors of African American communities throughout the United States and the diaspora. We're talking about what happened to black people as a whole. We get caught up in the nonsense. All we need to do is completely step away from them as much as possible, like we've been doing. But yes, we have to. I think we do a bad job of recognizing and then taking action. I'm with you, but I do think we do a horrible job of recognizing and taking action, because we be caught up in our feelings of how we feel about things and how we feel about people, or how people can make us feel, even those scammers who use those lovely words that make people feel good. So now I'm with you though, Renee. Definitely with you.
A lot of black people in America won't like it, but it's not my words. There's a woman by the name of Dr. Joy Leary. Okay. She is a psychologist, black psychologist in America, American black woman. And she talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome. That's what she calls it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? And essentially, black people in America were taken, think of it like Frankenstein. You know, like Frankenstein would take the arm from this place.
But that's why I made the title of this or the thumbnail Franken Negro, because we was talking about, but Franken Negro, like Nemesis X is saying, Franken Negro represents the diaspora, right? Some of these people are just lazy, using FBA misbehavior as a way to rank themselves higher. We are all losing and all crabs different barrels. I'm just saying. We need to understand that. And we will never intellectualize ourselves out of white supremacy.
It's the leg from this place and the head from this place. Yep. And they were created into what they are.
What's the form of eugenics, Kobe?
They're severed from what they were. You see, the black people on the continent of Africa, they still even though they were colonized and enslaved on their continent, they still, because they were in their continent, they got to hold on to some remnants of their culture, their language, their foods, stuff like that, right? So they, even though they were colonized, they weren't totally severed from who they were. The black American is severed from who they were.
But does that matter if the outcome is the same? Does that matter that Africans on the continent were able to retain most of their culture because they were colonized? So that means some cultural traits were replaced. But does it matter that they were able to retain as much as the culture they were able to retain if the outcome is the same? Does that matter? I'm just saying. Amina, I hear you. It don't. That was one of my first thoughts when I was watching this. I was like, but if the outcome is the same, why even bring that up? Who cares? Who cares if you were able to retain your culture if white people still run your stuff? We're behind enemy lines. You all are not behind enemy lines, but the result is the same. It matters from a perspective of having a place to return if that is needed. I get it, but we won't necessarily have a true place to return if they don't get their stuff together too, right? Because the analyzation of us, but if they don't get their stuff together, it ain't no real place to return. Because Europe will still control the African people. So the outcome will still be sort of the same. So, because I get what you're saying, because that's the goal, to be able to get to a place that we can have somewhere to return if need be. Yes. But the Africans got to do their part. And that, I think that's kind of my point, is if you're able to retain all this culture, but you're not, but you are still a slave to the white man, the same way we are, until we throw off all these shackles. We all, going back to your other comment, we all still in the same boat. We all still in the same boat. No, they still have not done any. Says a place to return refers not just to land as also foundational memory. Yeah, no, I get you. I'm with you on that. But I do think they have to do the work to get to a point to where this can be a reality. We all have to do the work. But the Africans on the continent, and I guess this will go to him, is, well, I guess instead of analyzing us, analyze themselves, so we can have a place to return. Because if we all concentrate on analyzing ourselves and seeing what happened to us and reversing what happened to us within our own lands, and then reversing what happened to us as a diaspora, we can do something, you know. So that's where the drain comes from. We all know that enough, that not enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. We love products too much. We think the word good is a moral condition. God is merchandise, fiat, product. Not yep. Y'all heard B1 say, please hit that like button. There's 33 people up in here. Please hit that like button. Let's go, man. Let's think. We critical thinking over here. I don't mind being wrong. I can't spell that good. You already see that stuff a lot of times. I can't spell that good. I don't mind being wrong. But I just want to make sure we thinking critically over here. Did I say this? Don't forget those who participate in the transatlantic slave trade. People from that. You don't consider, are you saying you don't consider people from Africa as your family? Just want to make sure. Professor Jane recently called consumerism. I saw that. We did a breakdown on that. I think consumerism is a part of slavery, but he said consumerism is the apex of slavery. I thought that mental slavery was the apex of mental slavery was the apex of slavery, and consumerism was one of the outcomes of it. So, okay, you're saying, all right, gotcha. I will say this. Not of course, because we can say the same thing about us. I would say I don't think that's the best mindset to have. And the reason why I would say I don't think this is the best mindset to have is because it wasn't 100% of the Africans. And it's just like we have a lot of sellouts over here in America, but we know that'll be like us looking at all of us here as the sellouts as well. Like, we know that they're good and bad. We have to learn how to separate ourselves from the weak, separate ourselves from the lames, and be able to go with those who down for this real liberation stuff. And of course, being fair, like, all Africans are not down with that. You know what I'm saying? So guess who's Battle Genja up in the building? What's going on, brother? Hey, man, you know it ain't the same without you, man. Happy Tuesday. Happy you here, man. Happy you here, my brother. Battle Genja, man. Real one in the building. Says, do you think before you buy? I do. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not totally disagreeing. I just think mental slavery is the apex of it, and consumerism is one of the outcomes of the mental slavery. But I think before I buy, but a lot of people don't. I get it. The masses don't think before they buy. I get it. Is that your position? Then no, I'm not going to change it. Just make sure you have that same heat for everyone. Dino says, or is purchasing unconscious? I mean, so we talking about post-traumatic slave syndrome and how post-traumatic slave syndrome has affected the diaspora. And this particular conversation, the brother Sarah Garvey, they are talking about the creation of the Black American, not just the physical creation, but the mental creation, the psychological creation of the Black American. And my argument is this is not just the creation of the Black American, this is the creation of Black people throughout the diaspora, whether you're from the continent, whether you're from Central and South America, whether you're from the Caribbean, or whether you're from the United States or even Canada. If you are a Black person who exists under the system of white supremacy, we all have been created in similar ways to become these Franken Negroes. And it's not just us, because he's talking about basically Franken Negroes. And so it's not just us, it's the diaspora. And that's, you start the conversation off saying Black people don't like each other. Well, you want to know why we don't like each other? Because of how we were acculturated. So that's what we're talking about today, my brother. Let's get back into it.
And then cultivated and created into this being. So
Right.
they don't have a natural language. Their language is the language of the person that created them. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't have a natural religion. Their religion is the religion of the person that created them. They don't have everything that they have has been cultivated by the people that created them.
But that would be for the for most of the diaspora. Like, there are a lot of people, a lot of Africans on the continent who their first language is English. The continent is full of people who are Christians and Catholics and Muslims, right? Colonizer, conqueror religions throughout the Caribbean. They're not Spanish and French Creole were not the original languages of the Africans when they got there, right? The Africans aren't the original inhabitants of those areas, right? Same thing with Central and South America, same thing with us. It's not just us. They were talking about the diaspora as a whole. And of course, he don't get it, but just making sure we get it. Like, this is not just us. Like, on the continent, it may not have been to the same extent as us, but if you're from the continent of Africa and your first language is English and you are a Christian and your first name is William, that sounds like colonization to me. I'm just saying.
Okay, but we're all
so when you talk about miseducation, they're not miseducated, they're educated in the way that the people that created them to be educated by. How? The fear was educated into them, the violence educated into them. Everything was educated into them via the people that cultivated them. So they're not miseducated. They're educated. They are moving along the exact line that they're supposed to move down, because the people that created them that way created them for them to be like this.
So they are completely. So just no disrespect to Americans.
No, it's not a disrespect.
So in other words, it's like you're.
Yeah, but the problem is what he don't. I don't think he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it because it's like a peacock. It's like a peacock analyzing an ostrich. Yeah, we're both birds. We're both in the bird family, right? But a peacock analyzing an ostrich, but also they're not being able to see everything. And yes, Black, you're gonna have a lot of Black Americans. I'm particularly one. In the beginning, I was like, hey, he tripping. And of course, I had to think more. I had to look at it more so I could think more. But he is gonna have negative reactions from Black Americans, because that for one, having a condescending tone, and two, he don't really know what he's talking about. Once again, a peacock trying to analyze an ostrich and tell an ostrich why he's an ostrich, but you're a peacock and you have no idea what it's like to be an ostrich. You know what I'm saying? English is the #1 language on the planet, followed by Mandarin and 3 Spanish colonial runner-up, aka. I'm just saying, colonizer languages are being spoke all across the globe. I'm just saying, Battle, you want it. They're being spoke all across the globe. You can't say we've been colonized, but ain't no but. You've been colonized. Ain't no buts. Oh, we had the good part of slavery. What? And that's why he's getting the smoke that he's getting, because he don't get it. And I think, because it's like, imagine a video going viral in the internet of Black Americans analyzing, continental Africans or Africans anywhere else in the diaspora. It will be taken the wrong way, and it should be. Once again, you a peacock analyzing an ostrich about being an ostrich. And because you read the book, you're like, oh, I have no. You still are in theory. It's like I read a book on surgery. The person next to me is a surgeon. I've read 100 books about surgery. He's been a surgeon for 15 years. Who you trusting?
Saying that they're completely lost. Unless they follow that trajectory. And they continue on that trajectory.
They're completely...
But how do they go from being the person that was, protecting the master and supporting and being, come back as the wounded, looking after them, to the person that now is so anti-white and the hatred towards white people?
Black people don't hate white people.
You don't think that's the case?
They say they do, but they don't. And this is where I get controversial, right?
And see, once again, the theys that are getting him in trouble, saying the they, no, say we. Say we. If let's not act, white supremacy and colonization still exist on the continent. If the Africans on the continent were any different, white supremacy would have been gone. The Chinese are even making their way in. Everybody knows that you can go and colonize the continent. So that's a we thing. We as black people throughout the diaspora don't hate white people. Not enough of us. Not enough of us. That's a we thing, not a they thing. Yeah, he doesn't identify with us. He doesn't. So stop trying to analyze us, and that's the thing, he don't get it. Don't analyze people that you don't identify with, because you're going to always have a problem. The thing that he's doing is fueling these diaspora wars, and he don't even get it. He's fueling the diaspora wars. He's going to have more black people looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? You don't know nothing about this black American experience, but yet you read a book maybe once, maybe twice, and now you're an expert on our culture and what has happened to us, and you don't identify with us? Because he's from the UK, and I think he's Caribbean or from the continent or whatever. But yeah, but also it goes back to the idea and the question of why are black Americans the one group of black people who are always under the microscope of other black people. So the lack of critical thinking skills is hallmark in the educational system that America copied from Prussia. And wherever the colonizer went and educated black people, there's always a lack of critical thinking skills. Hey man, I appreciate everybody being up in the building. We got 41 people in the building. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you share this, jump in the comments just to say hey in the comments. You can put emojis or whatever it is. I got a couple polls up. Make sure y'all hit them polls. Let's do this thing. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into it. We got our thinking caps on today.
If black people hated white people, if they really hated them, they would treat them the same way that they were treated. They don't. They love them. So what happens when a white person? They love them.
I don't hate white people.
No, I'm not talking. Yeah, I don't hate white people. But when you said that,
from America.
But you said that they hate them, and I'm saying they don't hate them. They love them.
But there's definitely anti-whiteness. There's definitely no man.
Let me tell you something.
I see it, dude. I got tons of. Dude, if I have to put this stuff online, of like people on TikTok talking about, this, almost the disdain for white
It's lip
people.
service. It's lip service. It's not.
God's sake, man.
Mark Anthony.
What's going on?
Mark Anthony. If I hated you, which I don't, bro, right? I would do something to you. If I hated you, I could say, "Oh, you see that Mark Anthony? He's a this. He's a this. He's a blah. He's a blah blah." It's lip service. You used to be in a gang. If someone's talking about doing something, what's worse? Someone talking about doing something or someone doing something?
Someone doing something.
Right. So because people can talk all the time. Did you hear?
Well, yes. I've always said, and I keep saying it, black people. When I say black people, I mean the diaspora. Black people. If we were superheroes, if they had a superhero that represented the diaspora, our superpower would be talking junk. That's it. Talking junk. That'd be our greatest power. And resilience will be resilient. You probably won't die, but we'll just be out there talking junk and getting beat up. Hey, there you go. Be respectful. Wipe your feet or take your shoes off before you come in my house. Don't come in my house loud. Don't come in my house analyzing me. Don't come in my house thinking that you are the expert on me. And that's the thing that's getting him in trouble is he's speaking about us as if he's the expert on us and he knows nothing about us. You can tell by the way he talks. He really don't understand the Black American experience. So
that someone also said this about you, whatever he said, they don't really hate you, because if they really hated you, bro, they do something to you, bro. So this is what I'm trying to say. Black people.
Well, exactly. So that goes for the continent, that goes for the Caribbean, Central and South America, and Canada as well, and the UK. That goes for Black people across the diaspora, across the world. Black people are on bottom across the world. It's not just a Black American thing. That's why he's getting a lot of the pushback that he's getting, because he's short-sighted, but he's so loud.
We don't hate white people.
Thank God
they're
they
just
thank
talking.
God they didn't hate me that much.
No, but they're just talking. So I'm saying Black people in the Western world,
But we hate each other though.
Because they do. That's what I'm trying to say. We do things to each other.
No, 6 times. No, in America, it's 6 times more likely to kill a black, someone from our own race than a white person. And in the UK, it's 4 times. We're 4 times more likely to kill a black person than we will kill anybody else.
Like I said, because we.
Not that I don't want anyone. Please don't go and kill anyone.
But this is what I'm trying to say. We do things to each other, which shows the hate. So you can say, "Oh, I hate you," and it's like, well, that's just lip service, because you ain't showing me that you hate me. When you hate someone, you do something to them. You don't just talk about not liking them. So this is why I said, Black people love white people. Black people. I know you're a Christian, but Black people worship a white man in the sky.
Yeah, but
So they don't. They don't.
Look at his sky.
Once again, with the they don't know. You don't either. You worship the same white man in the sky. Yes, you do. You worship the same white man in the sky. You fear the same white man. You cower to the same white man. Your people do the same thing. Black people, all of us do the same thing. It's a us thing. It's not a they thing. Where show me the Black people who are in power anywhere else on this planet under the system of white supremacy, who have any power over any white people. Show me them. All of our minds have been warped. You got to wake up, bro. You can't just jump online and start talking. Anything you say in the public realm will be subject to criticism. You got to understand that. So you better put your best foot forward. You better think before you speak.
But
Christian, look at this.
They don't hate white people. They love them. Black women say they don't like white women, but they've got their hair on their head every day. They wear their hair. Right. They don't hate them. There's a thin line between love and hate. They love them. A lot of them want to be them. So
is that what kind of makes up for that? What you're saying there makes me think.
And he's saying that speaking the white man's language, wearing the white man's clothes.
Well, is this what's behind that kind of colorism thing and the jealousy? Is that like a form of jealousy towards light-skinned people then?
Of course it is, because Black people are the only people systematically for hundreds of years that were told that their dark skin is bad. They were the only people that were told that the way their nose looks is bad. They were the only people that were told for hundreds of years that their hair is bad. So what's that going to do to yourself?
So you know what that means if you're using Umar talking points. Dum da dum dum dum. He gonna scam you and try to hunt you. If you're a woman, he gonna try to hunt you and scam you. Me Kim in the building. Yep. And that's global. Me Kim in the building. Me Kim, appreciate you. Always appreciate you. Thank you. We work for the white man across this planet until the whole of us decide to be better. This is what it's gonna be. We got to improve on the culture, like we talked about earlier. Walter Rodney said the mixed race child is Chancellor Williams had a chapter in Destruction of Black Civilization about the mulattoes and how the mulattoes were working for the system of white supremacy, you know, like the Hodge twins and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah.
Confidence.
It's a form of, was it body dysmorphia?
Just gonna give you body dysmorphia. That's why Black people are bleaching. They're throwing on wigs. They're now doing nose jobs
throughout the diaspora,
right? They don't hate white people, they love them. Because if you didn't love them, you wouldn't be trying to emulate them. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's backwards. When I keep saying that, people think it's a joke because then you laughed. But I'm like, no, they're not showing hate, they're showing love.
It's interesting that you basically have come to that conclusion, because I don't think people are very honest enough or capable of actually recognizing that.
Right.
You know,
now, it's funny he say that because it's funny he say that because he don't recognize that.
You don't just talk about particularly for hundreds of years. Thin line between love and hate. They love them. A lot of them want to be them.
So is that what kind of makes up for that? What you're saying there makes me think, well, is this what's behind that kind of colorism thing and the is that like a form of jealousy towards light-skinned people then?
Of course it is, because black people are the only people systematically for hundreds of years that were told that their dark skin is bad. They were the only people that were told that the way their nose looks is bad. They were the only people that were told for hundreds of years that their hair is bad.
I'm just saying, we know skin bleaching is the worst on the continent. Everybody knows that skin bleaching is the worst on the continent. That's why he's getting a lot of the pushback and a lot of blowback that he's getting from this and a lot of heat, because it's a short-sighted conversation for somebody it sounds good to him. It sounds good in his brain, but when he actually says it and comes out, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
So what's that going to do to your self-confidence?
It's a form of, was it body dysmorphia?
Just going to give you body dysmorphia. That's why black people are bleaching. They're throwing on wigs. They're now doing nose jobs.
In Africa as well.
They don't hate white people, they love them. Because if you didn't love them, you wouldn't be trying to emulate them. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's backwards. When I keep saying that, people think it's a joke because then you laughed. But I'm like, no, they're not showing hate, they're showing love.
It's interesting that you basically have come to that conclusion, because I don't think people are very honest enough or capable of actually recognizing that.
That's the point I want to get at. He's not capable of recognizing. They're not capable of recognizing their shortcomings. They're not capable of recognizing what has happened to them. You're so busy looking outward instead of looking inward. You haven't taken the time to see how colonization has blended your minds. If everything was, because you're basically talking to like everything over here is so much worse than everything else. Well, where's your freedom? Where's your liberation? Where's your separation from white supremacy? Over there, the difference is white supremacy has a black face where you are. That's the difference. They use your own people against you, and we just behind enemy lines. That's the difference. I'm just saying. Is there a little? Probably is. He's speaking. Right. Like he freed himself. Like he the one free Negro. Come on, man. Condescending too.
Right.
You know, and that's the issue, because you've got to be honest, and that's what I love talking to you, because I think that very few people I'm going to speak to are going to be honest. And
that's probably it's my gift and my curse, is me being so.
Yeah, but it's a deep fear, and I think, but once we get to that point as black people, we understand we have to be honest. Just be honest about stuff.
Man, not only that, Africans on the continent have adopted Black American culture, and they behave like us now. They behave like us. They were the Africans in the continent were the same raggedy lace fronts that the girls wear over here. They behave the same. African women on the continent behave like project women in the United States. They got us all fucked up.
Then we will be able to undo the conditioning.
Did you grow up in the time where black men are saying, "Oh, I want a lighty, I want a light-skinned girl"? Because I did. I've never been.
No respect to everyone. I've never been into light-skinned girls.
No, but I'm saying.
And I ain't nothing bad about it. I just not.
No, I'm saying.
Much like me.
I'm not talking about you. I'm saying, did you grow up in an era where black men were saying, "Oh, I want a light-skinned girl"? Because I did.
Okay.
I did, right? So anything closer to whiteness,
I don't think
means it's more beautiful. Now,
right? But I don't have. Once again, like he's talking like he revealed something new to us. Willie Lynch. It's Willie. All he talking about is Willie Lynch. That's all he's talking about. He's talking about Willie Lynch. You're not telling us nothing new. You're not saying anything profound, and you're saying it from a standpoint of you don't know what you're talking about all the way. You haven't really digested the information. You read it and you were ready to speak, but you haven't digested the information. Of course. Right.
I have a problem with that because you're in the West. So the West standard of beauty is probably going to be the one that you're going to adhere to because you're in the West. So Western women, blonde hair, blue eyes, blah, blah, blah.
And remember, Sarah Garvey used to be on the podcast with the white girl, Pearl, that blew up. And he left when he found out that he was her slave or something like that. She was doing like slave-like contracts and stuff, and she was trying to get him into some stuff. But you know, he's aligned himself with the white people though. He's aligned. You can go pull him up. Pearl Davis. You go pull up the videos. He's aligned himself with white folk, but now he's the knower of all known. Yep, you can see it in the Nigerian movies on Netflix. They look. I'm just saying. Go look at a lot of those videos that they put online. They behave like black women from the projects. They don't even behave like upstanding black women. They behave like the ones from the projects. And that be my problem too, man. That'd be my problem. Like, we got so many great black women out here that people can emulate, and they always want to emulate the behavior of the ones who got the worst behavior.
Is going to be looked upon as the standard of beauty. I don't have a problem with that because I'm living here. If I was living in Africa, the standard of beauty might be different. But I'm living here. Black people consistently, both the men and the women, are consistently showing that they love white people. They don't hate them. They're trying to emulate their hairstyle. They're trying to emulate their nose. They're trying to get rid of the darkness in their skin. The men are trying to go for lighter or whiter women a lot of the time, right? And I'm saying, listen, you don't hate, you love. Because the people that you do hate is the other black people. That's the ones that you really try to kill and unalive and, you know, disrespect. And like I said, and worship.
Do you know? Yeah, possibly. Maybe you're saying I can't disagree with anything you're saying. You know, I have to prove it. I can't show that proof of that.
You can disagree though.
Yeah, but I don't really know. I don't know enough to be able to disagree. I know what I.
And see, one time for light skin, I don't know his name, so I apologize. But one time for him for admitting I don't know enough. This shouldn't even been a video. Sarah Garvey from the beginning should say, you know what? I don't know enough to make this video. Maybe I should not make this video because I don't know enough. No. Sarah said, you know what? I'ma just go have diarrhea of the mouth and talk about something that I don't really understand. Shout out to the other brother for saying, you know, I don't know enough about that to talk about that, but not this brother.
I know about how I feel, but I can't say that's the same for other people. You know, right. I'm sure there are people who are like, you know, I've got to date a white woman, and that's where they're going. They want their kids to be mixed race.
Yeah.
It was the opposite for me. But I don't want to disrespect my wishes. It was the opposite for me. I literally wanted my kids to be darker, so they wouldn't have to go through what I went through.
No, I mean, I grew up. I remember I was seeing this lady, another Jamaican, lighter skinned Jamaican at one point in time. And she said to me, oh, her grandma, she remembers her grandma pinching the nose of her grandchildren to try and make sure their nose is straighter. Oh, you don't want their nose too wide, blah, 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 blah. And all that type of stuff, like I said.
That's because serious crazy
because the standard of beauty is white. So that's when I say people don't hate black people. Don't hate white people. If black people hated white people, do you know what you'd have? You'd have sleeper cells of black people plotting and planning and scheming to kill white people. That's what hate would do. Because we know who the sleeper cells are. We know what countries they come from. We know what religion they are. They're the ones that really hate people. Black people don't hate.
So, look, man, I'm giving y'all permission. If you ever hear me talking about another group of black people and trying to analyze them, check me. Please check me. Say, Joseph, shut up. that type of analyzation fuels the diaspora wars. That type of analyzation fuels the animosity that we have against each other, right? I don't think any of us are in a position to look at another group of black people and become the expert on them. We're barely the experts on ourselves. We're still learning who we are and what happened to us, right? And, you know, being the most visible group of black people, we're constantly under the microscope. What's going on, Terrell? YouTube tripping. Make sure you hit that notification bell and hit all. Hit the drop down box on the notification bell and hit all. You should get notifications for this. And check my post. I'm always going to put a post up letting you know that we're going live every Tuesday at 9 and every Saturday at 3:30. So check that as well. But hit that notification bell and turn on the all notification. But how many sales have they hit? Hey man, look. It's disingenuous and it's unproductive to go analyze another group of black people that we really don't understand. No problem, Terrell. No problem. How can you tell that it's ultimately a meaningless conversation, not one solution? I'm just saying. It was just bravado. Hey, this is what the Black American is. Okay. Now, how did you expect this to go? Because if your goal is to build bridges, to build community, you have to be upright in what you're doing, and you have to be thoughtful in what you're doing. And hey, is this the best conversation to have? This was a pre-recorded video, so they looked at this, edited, and put it out. So they had time to think about it. But what I am saying is, in a time where the diaspora wars are being fueled, especially by the internet, this is another internet personality. I am an internet personality, yes, but I'm a real person first. I live in the real world and I live in a real community. And we have to be able to build bridges between each other within our own communities, within our own neighborhoods, within our own nation before we can build the bridges internationally. And we'll never build the bridges internationally if there's always strife, if there's always somebody throwing logs on the fire. I meant his country, since he thinks we should have them. Yeah, I'm just saying. Now I got what you're saying. So we have to be more thoughtful about what we're doing. And we have to be able to correct each other. Brother Sarah Garvey, no disrespect, no beef with you. But this was a bad decision to put this video out. It was a bad decision to have this conversation from your standpoint and your lens, because it would be a bad decision for me, Pat and PC, to analyze you and your people. It would be a horrible decision for us to do that because we don't know enough. Once again, we don't know enough about ourselves, so we don't know enough about you to give that type of analyzation. And I think it was flawed and it was untimely and it didn't sit right and it's not going to age right. So I just think, brother, if you ever see this video, I ain't got no beef with you, don't want no beef with you, but I just think be more thoughtful in the type of analyzation that you do for another group of black people before you put that out. Because if the goal is really to help push things forward and build a bridge, that's not it. So it's all BS. We're not functioning correctly. Anyone on this planet. I'm just saying, he was dead wrong. Black power, African family. You already know it. Tara, what's going on? Thank you for being here. We are fighting a war on two fronts, against our people and our open enemies. Right. And that's the problem. But that's the way that it was intended to be by the white supremacists, to make sure that we are fighting each other. Because as long as we're fighting each other, guess who we ain't fighting? As long as we fighting each other. So, hey, man, you know how we do. Hey, so I appreciate everybody for tuning in yesterday, for catching my Monday video yesterday. I I put out so many videos. Yeah. I earned a PhD in self-hate. Enslaved the Negroes' minds, and they will destroy themselves. Clarence Thomas. Today, I put out the video today. Go make sure you watch it today. Historical and religious lies you still believe. And the title of the thumbnail is "You Believe Everything They Tell You." That's my Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen video. So make sure you go check that out. And I'm putting out a video tomorrow about Gasper Yanga, who created one of the first free African settlements in the Americas, one of the first maroon colonies. So make sure y'all check that out tomorrow, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. 1 p.m. tomorrow. Of course, Thursday we're dropping the clip. Friday we have the breakdown Friday. Got something for y'all for that. We're bringing the background on the relationship tips, so stay up for that. And Saturday, of course, we're going live. We're having fun Saturday going live. Y'all say you wanted us to do our review and get into some Dr. Amos Wilson. So we get into Dr. Amos Wilson on Saturday. So we're doing what we do, man. Yeah, I appreciate y'all. I am happy. Y'all just don't understand. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm delighted. I'm pleased that you all show up for these lives. You could Tuesday night, you could be doing anything else, but you choose to come here with me, and I appreciate it. Saturdays to 3:30 football season, y'all still show up. I appreciate you all. You have no idea. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I've been grinding for a long time, and it feels good to know that that the seeds I plan to have blossom. So thank you all for always tuning in, always showing love, hitting that like button, comment, sharing, subscribing. Thank you all. Thank you. Right. We do need these type of conversations so we can hammer out our differences. We have to get to the real. We have to always deal with the real. My OGs always taught me to deal with the real. As men, as women, we got to deal with the real. PC is doing much better. Friday, you're gonna see PC, you're gonna see the video. PC gonna give an update. But PC, thank you for asking. PC is definitely doing much better. He's back home. He sounds better. He's moving a bit better. So we've been checking up on you. So thank you, Dorf L, for checking up on PC. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you enjoy this podcast. I appreciate it. Y'all just don't understand. That make me feel so great. Thank you. I appreciate you too. I appreciate you. To reverse PTSS, we have to have codification, as Fuller said, also simple institutions to counter indoctrinate appropriately. We must change our side. Yes. Conversations are the beginning. Need some yep. And that's why I'm constantly saying in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, make sure we are being active, doing some constructive activities. Hey man, we missed you, bro. We family over here, man. We build a community, we build family over here. We missed you, bro. Welcome back, man. Welcome back to the fold. Remember, Saturday at 3:30 is going down. Dr. Amos Wilson. We getting it in. We are getting it in. I love you all. So Battle Ganja, appreciate you. Nemesis X. Tara Williams, appreciate you. Renee Woods, Door of L, B1 always. Terrell, thank you for tuning in. Who else? Amina Muhammad, you already know what it is. Amina, thank you. Me Kim Tate, thank you. Siriel, thank you for being here. Who else was here? I want to make sure everybody. L Ben Sinai, I don't want to mess up the first part, but L Ben Sinai, thank you for being here. Who else was here? Who else dropped in the comments and left some comments up in the piece? Chipper. One time, man. Appreciate you all being here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey, I will see you all Saturday. Make sure y'all stay blessed, stay black, stay powerful. Make sure you're doing something constructive every day to better yourself and better your community. Love you all. Let's make this future as best for our children as possible. So see y'all Saturday.